Congrats, guys.
Thank you.
Lots of fun. This is your audition for a new Game of Thrones series, if ever I saw one, right? Are you guys, now itching to get into a Game of Thrones style film?
Yeah, it's got similar elements.
Swords and the dragon.
Yeah. Are you guys fans of stuff like Game of Thrones, like fantasy stuff? Because there's a lot of them going around these days, is that? And there's stuff like Outlander, and
I think
it's big business, as it were.
Yeah, but this is different to all that because it's a kids version and it's original. You know, how many films have there been where there's been a child who has to take on an amazing journey? Exactly, there's none.
Yeah. There is now.
Yeah, exactly.
There is now. So what was kind of Joe's pitch to you guys? I mean, did he give you any sort of reading material in terms of the King Arthur story, or did he want you to kind of stay clear of that and deal with this more original take, if you like?
Well, I think we all did our own research. Like, I read the Michael Morpurgo, Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, but that was purely just to be more familiar with the tale. But I think because Joe has it all in his head and he knows what he wants us to do. I think when he told us about it, he mapped it out very well.
Yeah. Has anyone told you the company of actors that you're in with playing Merlin? Has anyone told you that yet?
Has told me who's in it.
Who's played Merlin in other movies?
I don't think they've told me an exhaustive list.
I've got a list here. I wrote a list down.
Have you
So
really?
you've got Ben Kingsley. I might be, if I'm wrong, then this is a really bad interview. Gary Oldman, Sir John Gielgud, Sam Neill, Rick Mell, Joseph Fiennes, and Colin Morgan.
That's pretty.
That's pretty impressive. List. It's a character.
Some of my heroes in there.
That's good. I was going to begin by saying it must be quite fun to be you right now because you've been singing with Hugh Jackman, you've done all the stunts with Tom Cruise, and now you're playing a villain as Morgana.
Little children and strangling Patrick. Yes, it is fun being me.
How much fun is it, and how liberating is it for you as an actor to play a bad guy? Because a lot of actors like, the way that you're able to just kind of go off and be dastardly.
I mean, I'd love to be even more evil. But it's fun, and also it's great because I'd never done it before, and I realised there's a difference in playing evil and scaring children than what I then after that I was offered. I played Rose the Hat in the continuation of The Shining, Dr. Sleep, which is literally not the same thing, but it's scaring grown-ups and scaring children. And I thought, scaring children is simple, you just do the whole wah and the stuff and the wee wah. And I realised I'm worried I'm becoming too animated and it's going to become goofy and silly because children nowadays, in my head, expect more and need more. So I kind of reeled it back and I thought I have to be more pure and real in my acting. Yeah. But I think Joe cut it together quite nicely. It was quite scary.
Who hurt who first in the old sword fighting and stuff like that? Were there any injuries between you?
He had the most. He had loads.
Yeah, there were some injuries with me, but
all self-inflicted as well.
Yes. Yeah.
With the 50p coins, right?
Sorry?
You hurt yourself with the 50p coins.
No, but on set, there was a lot of fighting and hard things, so here and there bruises, but nothing too much.
And you guys, obviously lots of stunts in this. You give Tom Cruise a run for his money with all that kind of stuff.
He doesn't match up.
How was it doing? Because the tree sequence was interesting. Did you have kind of reference with that? I mean, did you have sort of green screen stuff going on, or was it more physical? Because you guys seem to be like in the mud and all that kind of stuff.
No, we had our plastic swords, but they were weighted, and there were these big grown men in suits with dots on them, and then they'd have these long like sort of things, and we'd fight against them.
Yeah, but as well as that, they were also very with their body language as well. It was very impressive because in the moment you couldn't realise that you were solely focused on your imagination, which was very nice.
That coastal town looked quite cold. Were you shooting in like a cold time? It looked on those cliffs that it was pretty freezing. And you had the water stuff to it as well. I can imagine that was tricky.
Yeah. It was very cold, and especially in Cornwall, they were bringing out a rain machine. In the end, we didn't even need to use it. There was so much rain. Yeah. But there were always nice heaters nearby, though.
I mean, he's a character that people have loved over the years. I mean, what do you think it is about Merlin and kind of wizards and wizardry that people seem to always want to go back to?
I think Merlin's a unique character because he's, you know, like Santa Claus, he's an amalgamation of different people from history, I think, and different myths, who, you know, that there's ideas that he was a druid in Scotland, the last druid, and then, of course, the myth that he came from in Cornwall, and then a Welsh boy. So there's all these different myths, and I think what's brilliant about being able to play with that is it's really ripe to then create your own original idea and try and find from those legends that there's so much, a wealth of material there, to then create a really original take on it, which was something I really relished.
How was it working for Joe? Because he's got such a unique kind of vision. All the kids were saying how kind of liberating it was for them and how much fun it was to be in his little world. Was that good for you as well?
Yeah, Joe has an incredible mind, and also he's very particular. Joe has, you know, he's been working on this script for so long, and he's an incredible writer as well. And I was very loyal to the written word, and I've never been so... I try to not change an and or a comma. And that was a new way of working, which is, there's a rhythm to his writing, which is beautiful. So it took me to another level as well, embracing every single aspect of it and not trying to go in and make it too much of my own.
Yeah. What's it like working for Joe? Because he's obviously made a name for himself as a comedy guy, and was in a successul comedy double act. Now he's made transition into movies. Had you guys seen his previous movie, Attack the Block, with John Boyega? Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, I liked it very much. I think, as Louis said before, Joe had this clear vision in his head of what he wanted, and so that helped us quite a lot because he guided us on what he wanted, and we had this slight choice of freedom, I think, with what we wanted to do, but Joe would always tell us in which ways he wanted us to do it, and that was very helpful. I'm grateful for that.
Did Joe give you any sort of information in terms of what he wanted from the character? Because obviously you do certain things with your hands and certain movements. I mean, did he have that in mind from the thing, or was that you brought that to?
No, that was something we created when what he did on this page is just phenomenal and gives you so much when I first read the script and wanting to play the part. But then as far as I can remember, we then developed that how he was going to perform his sorcery and his incantations, and that just came from the working process, and we wanted something that, you know, he was able to use the elements, you know, to kind of bring them together in an almost like a maths, you know, that he has this understanding of how to manipulate them in a perfect way to do what he achieves, and that it's exhausting to him, that it doesn't just happen because he's able to say a few words or anything. But that was definitely a process. It was taking those words out and just making it physical, and about you know, these very intricate moves that really brought all the different things together, the fire and the water, and then he was able to go through a portal or duplicate metal.
Were there any kind of like villains when you were growing up that scared you a lot and kind of came back into your brain when you were playing Morgana at all?
No, I didn't watch many scary movies at all. I happened to walk in on Mother once when she was watching John Hurt's The Elephant Man. But that was just very uncomfortable. And also I remember being scared of, oh gosh, I can't remember his name now, but I was young, and he has an interesting face, and it's not a mask. It's Mask, the film with Cher.
Oh, and Eric Stoltz. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I remember being scared because I was too young to understand sort of the look, and it was also emotional because he was so sad and feeling so left out and bullied. And do you remember the film?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And it made me so sad, this film. I remember that. And also Cruella de Vil.
Of course.
Which I embodied, and I tried to spice up my character based on that.
What was Joe like as a filmmaker? Because obviously he comes from a comedy background.
Yeah.
He's made, obviously, Attack the Block was very successful.
Yeah,
now he's
fantastic.
made this. I mean, as a filmmaker, what was it like working for him? Because he's got such a unique sensibility.
Yeah, he does. I think probably, I don't know whether it comes from the comedy, but he has such brilliant attention to detail, and he really was fantastic and generous in making sure that every moment was really, really right tonally, and you know, fed in from the next thing. And so I think that's shown in the script, and then in the visuals of the film, certainly. And then when we were playing with him, you know, he'd be right by the lens, you know, getting you to do exactly the kind of with creative freedom, but it was about drawing the very best out of you, and that was a real treat. That you felt like you were in safe hands.
Yeah, he's got quite a unique mind, isn't he, Joe? I mean, because he mixes the action stuff with the human side of it and the funny side of it. I mean, it must have been good to be in a movie of this scale, but also that was human at the heart, if you like.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes I think of Joe as a little kid. You know, he's one of us because he's just got quite a childish mind. But no, he does. He knows what he wants his film to be, and he portrayed it very well.
Yeah, and you obviously had some big names in this. Rebecca Ferguson as your big villain, also Sir Patrick Stewart. Did you get to meet him? Because I know there's a scene with you he's walking around the cliff, isn't he? Kind of giving you some advice. What was it like meeting him? That must have been pretty surreal, right?
It was crazy. Especially for me, like I'm a big X-Men fan, so just seeing Professor X sitting in front of us or standing in front of us doing a scene, it was just surreal. It just made it 10 times better, but...
I think everyone had nerves the first day he came in.
Yeah,
I can imagine,
sure.
yeah.
It was very bellowing.
He's got a presence, hasn't he? Yeah. Just finally, obviously it's a story that could have sequels. Are you guys up for more of this if the opportunity came around?
Yeah.
Unanimous, yes. I like that. That's
Definitely
good.
want to do it again.
My time's up, guys. Thank you so much.
Cool.
For your time.
Thank
Pleasure.
you.
Cheers. And just finally, did he tell you about Sir Patrick Stewart playing, you know, the older version, or you know, in the time difference? I mean, did he tell you beforehand that was the plan, that he was hopeful that?
Well, I knew that there would be an older Merlin, but we didn't know who it would be. So it was such a a wonderful surprise that it was Sir Patrick Stewart, and then suddenly he came in, and we were able to show him all the bits we've been working on. He was able to watch. No pressure, but you know, it was great.
Was it harder doing all the, because obviously there's quite an extensive makeup process. I mean, was doing that harder than, say, doing a lot of the stunts for Mission Impossible? I mean, or was it kind of a little bit different?
No, completely different. And also it's 4 hours of sort of static getting into the character, and Connor and Shannon, makeup and special effects, glued on every single little vine on my face and my body. So it was 4 hours of procedure every morning for them as well. But what's lovely is the gradual process of Morgana coming to life, and then you have the dress on that Jenny made with all of the vines that literally got caught in everything. And then walking onto the sets, which were all built and real. It's incredible. And stunts is something else, because there's another movement to it and memory that you have to have on top of all of the acting. This was just kind of walking around as being a bitch.
Just finally, I have to ask you about Mission Impossible Fallout. The biggest one that there's been, everyone's just been raving about it. Has Tom given you any inclination that there might be another one, or is he too busy with, going back into jet planes and stuff?
Well, we wrote the other day, and he's flying. I think he's quite busy doing the Top Gun 2.
Yeah.
Because I said I'm on an exercise bike, prepping for the next film. But he's doing very well. I think he's constantly 5 films ahead.
Yeah.
I think Tom isn't just centralised to the movie he does.
That's a maybe then.
We'll see.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
Absolute
you.
pleasure, as ever. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey You Guys!